Hey there, Lyon Con. Thank you so much for being with us today. My name is Elise, and this is the Ladies Who Game panel. I would like to introduce our guests today. Right over here on my left-hand side, we have Keisha Howard from Sugar Gamers. We also have Surena from Dungeon Rats and Rivals of Waterdeep. To my right, we have Rebecca, also from Sugar Gamers, and Alex from Rivals of Waterdeep, and
just Dungeon Rats.
And just Dungeon Rats. I don't do research. So we are here just to have a conversation about being people who game. That's all it is.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's all it should be.
That's all it should be, exactly. Oh, we're gonna get into it. Okay. So I would just like to open up the conversation. Why gaming, and what is your preferred kind of game platform? Not that we're one-dimensional human beings who only like one thing, but what's your forte?
I guess I'll go first. I am really into immersive sims. So not the most popular form of gaming, but I like narrative-driven stories that are like Deus Ex, Dishonored, BioShock. I don't know if it's considered an immersive sim, but like first player, one player, very immersive, usually have some FPS dynamics, but you can play it in stealth mode too, which I really enjoy. And also enjoy, I just got back into it, but I'm into tabletop RPGs now. So when I was 12, like when I was a preteen, my older brother used to always be the dungeon master. So I've only ever played Dungeons and Dragons from one side because I had a megalomaniac older brother. But
Anthony is a dungeon master though? Dude, I kind of need to play. We need to do that.
That's the thing we can do.
Pause this. Get him over.
He's in Atlanta. We'll take him.
Skype him in.
It's a quick flight. It's a Delta Connect.
That's awesome.
What about you, Surena?
So my first video game, or my first thing I was into was always video games. Like I played Nintendo, into Super Nintendo, into like Sega Genesis, like all of like the platforms, till I got to about Xbox 360, and then school and trying to do a lot of drama club and all of that happened. But RPGs have always been my favorite. Like being able to tell a story and be fully, like you said, like immersed into the story as a different character in a different world. I love it.
escapism.
Escapism. So good.
Because the real world sucks.
The real world. It's hard.
Let's start a podcast. We only have half an hour today.
And then, so recently I've been doing a lot of like tabletop gaming. Started with, in Arizona, my friend is a game designer, so he would have us do a lot of like LARPing and all of that. So that was like my first like improv experience, was LARPing. And,
awesome.
Yeah.
That's intense.
Yeah, super intense. So then when I moved to Chicago, I met everyone that we do the Dungeon Rats with, and we just started like getting super hard into D&D. And now I'm like exploring other types of RPG games. Like D&D is like such a big and important game to my heart. But now like I'm playing this game called what is it? I don't remember the name of this game. Oh God, no.
Did you see the way she said super hard into D&D though? Like
Yeah.
she like put like the thug
I'm like
punch
super
into
in
it. It like obliterated everything she was gonna say. Super hard into D&D.
Gosh.
Rolling those 20s.
I mean, Wizards
it's
has
good.
your number, so.
Wizards does have my number. But yeah, just RPGs and being a character and being able to do like a voice at the table is like my heart. I love it.
That's awesome.
Go, Alex.
Sorry, I
Go.
stole it. Snatched it. Just gonna repeat, I also love RPGs. That's my jam. When I was really, really little, I used to bond with my dad because he would play Legend of Zelda. and I would help him because the original Legend of Zelda is really hard. So both of us would just be like, what is happening? I played video games with my dad when I was a kid, and I also had like Sega Genesis and Sega Saturn, but I've always been a PlayStation kid. And if a game is like 80 to 100 hours of just story and like doing weird side quests and I don't have to talk to anybody online, I'm the happiest. Because I'm a lone wolf. I just want to solve the epic story by myself. They're like, you should do like MMOs. I'm like, or I could not.
I feels that hard.
I was like, I'm the hero. I don't want to interact with other people.
Right. I worked all day. This is not a teaching moment right
Yes,
now.
absolutely. For real. Because like, all of my jobs are performance or teaching of some kind. So when I'm home, I used to have a roommate who'd be like, hey Alex, I'd be like, nope. I need to not speak to anyone for at least an hour before I can like interact with the world again. I'm gonna go beat up some robots. But I love video games. I was just telling the rest of the Dungeon Rats on the car ride here that in high school I used to like role play on like AOL chat rooms and things like that. So super nerd.
I did that too. That was my jam.
Because some of my best friends are people that I met like in chat rooms playing characters that lived at like other parts of the country. But it wasn't until I was an adult that I started doing D&D and tabletop. When I started having improv friends who'd be like, let's do this. And now I'm doing more tabletop because Surena pulled me into it and I like it.
It's perfect.
Yeah. So there's like two dynamic duos here, I see. So
Yeah.
how long have you guys been like hanging out and being nerdy together?
Oh man, shoot.
Forever?
Yeah, Alex has been one of my first friends in Chicago.
Yeah, it's been like 5 years or
It's
so.
been like, yeah, best friends, guys.
Keisha and I have been work married for a decade.
Oh, I love that.
We literally described ourselves as married yesterday in a conversation.
Keisha and I have been work married. We know everything too much about each other, but it comes in handy a lot. So I was a big video gamer, mainly because it started because my older brother had gotten, I think he like paid for with his own paper route money or whatever stupid job he had. He bought a Nintendo, and then of course this was contraband for me, so I was not allowed to touch it or play it. So what do? The second I could put my hands, I'm gonna play it.
I would play it.
I was playing the Mafia Conspiracy and Mario and Ninja Gaiden, which is just
hard.
to my brother's credit, I never beat it without the genie, but he did, and that means he's sick. And that game was so, a lot of that.
The only
tabletop
props you'll
too.
give him.
Yeah, tabletop stuff. I was into the cards. Magic I did for a little bit. My husband is a meanie. He's all land destruction. He's the worst. So we were doing that. So yeah, I'm always into card. As far as like tabletop card games, my friend Chloe of Avian Rampage just released a game called Americana, the card game. It's pretty amazing. Basically, you know how people love to romanticize that the 1950s and 60s were like peak America, and that's what this game just really savagely breaks down how that doesn't really shake out for most people. So it's an amazing game. I don't mean to plug, but it's just really cool, and Chloe's a good friend of mine, and I played it when I was out in LA a ton of times. Keisha's got to play it. It's so savage and great.
I feel like you should never feel bad about plugging good things.
I guess, yeah. Chloe, it's a good thing. I'm glad I'm plugging you. But yeah, as far as video games, I've been a video gamer for a long time, so Nintendo and then Sega Genesis, and then we got to like N64, and that's when Mario Kart and me became really good friends. Then we were getting into PlayStation, and I was playing Crash Bandicoot, and Pandemonium was a big... People forget about the Jet Moto. If you're a big race person, I'm a big race game person, so Jet Moto, SSX, all those games. But like my main, like where I live, is first-person shooter. That started with GoldenEye. And then I realized, oh my god, I like shooting people in the face all the time. and then the Xbox dropped, and then Halo dropped, and I'm a writer. I also write on games, and I write comics. So as a writer, Halo not only had that great FPS action, but the narrative was just this, I'm a big sci-fi nerd, it was this big sci-fi story. And it's expanded out so beautifully since. This on the lore side, there's a lot of cool women now. I've actually met Frank O'Connor, and he made me cry the first time I met him. He gave me a really good pep talk. He lets me hug him now against his will, but like...
He lets me hug him.
Bless him.
lesson in
He's a
consent.
sweet dude.
So he's a cat?
Yeah, Franco kind of he's kind of cat-like. So, but he's really cool, and he's made it a huge part to really just get a lot of different diverse characters in there. So shooters, yeah, and then you know when Halo gets boring, whatever, then yes, I will do. I love Call of Duty, and I am so unlike Alex, like I'm a lone wolf, but I want to like yell at people while I'm like. So I play a lot of free-for-all. A lot of people like to do teams. Like everyone wants me to do Overwatch. No, you don't, because I'm not a good team player. I want to do my thing my way. And when you're in Halo, you're a Spartan. You can flip a tank. You can, do it like I feel so limited in Overwatch, but I want to do all the things. So I'm a terrible teammate, but I love doing like free-for-all, like Call of Duty or Halo, and then I've made incredible friends like playing some of my best friends I've met through playing Halo or Call of Duty, and I've like met them in real life, like we've hung out. It's very weird. But yeah, so that's kind of so Xbox, even when it's not good, Halo's it kind of pulled me in, so that's why I'm there.
I feel like I have a bad perspective of Halo because in high school, when I was friends with only boys for a period of time, that was regrettable. Like after school, you all go through the phase of like, I'm not like other girls. I'm a cool girl. I can hang out with the guys.
That's my video game.
Which is like, when you get older, you're like, oh, I'm exactly like other girls. These girls are all fucking cool, right?
We get so excited.
All girls are great.
Are we allowed to drop F-bombs? I've been so good.
Oh. I'll try not to.
Try to contain
I just
it,
have a
but-
lot of feelings about women.
No,
They're positive.
That's why
it's
But
so
anyway, but I just remember like after school going over to like this kid's garage, and all the boys would just want to fight each other in Halo.
Yes.
Like, so I had no idea there was a story.
Oh,
because
yes.
I never played story.
So here's the
So-
thing. So I tell anyone about Halo, I say you don't have to even get into the game to get into the lore. The books are that good. There's a lot
cool.
of female writers. Oh, yes.
Yeah, there's books.
So many books. There's a lot of female writers, a lot of great characters. There's so many lady Spartans that are cool. And one thing I've always loved about Halo, when they did introduce female Spartans, they never had a crop top armor or any of that stuff. They
Crop top
They
armor.
never had like any of that junk. No, they had the same armor. Maybe they were a little bit leaner in figure, but but they had these great personalities. So
They didn't have the like sculpted boob armor.
No, they just had what the dudes had.
That like
because
what is not
that
effective.
looks terrible, by the way.
That would you would die,
Yeah.
and also like that's not how boobs work.
No, it would be so
That's
mean.
why sports bras are not like weird cup things.
Sports bras are amazing.
I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts about this, but
Yeah.
So
You brought
one
us yours.
thing I think we're kind of like sort of naturally segueing it, but one thing I really wanted to talk about is kind of claiming your space in geekery. And because I know I came from a spot where like my boyfriend loved Lord of the Rings, and so like I really kind of got in that way. But we kind of all, it seems from hearing stories, kind of start from, at least our generation, it's kind of started from a male perspective. But you guys have sugar gamers. You guys have your own gaming. Like, how did you kind of carve out your space?
so like for me, the license plates on my parents' cars for my whole life have been Warp 7 and Warp 8.
Yes.
Which, if anyone doesn't know, are speeds of like the Star Trek Enterprise can go to like faster than light speeds. So like I was born a nerd. I came by it naturally.
Forged in the fire of nerdom.
Yeah, I
was
started
born
doing the
of
Vulcan
this.
salute from birth. So like, it wasn't like a boy was into it that I played video games with my dad, but I like read sci-fi and fantasy novels with my mom, and it just seemed natural to me to be super nerdy. But at some point in like middle school, I guess, I realized I was like, oh, I'm getting like beat up on the school ground for being a weirdo. So I should maybe not tell people I watch anime or I play video games or do things. So it was interesting because I was like super nerdy, and then I was really like closet nerdy for a long time. And then at some point it became okay to be nerdy. And it's so weird to me that like things that I was so afraid of people finding out about me when I was younger, that I'm like, this is what I'm popular for now.
It is a weird phenomenon. Like,
It's just super surreal.
I grew up on the south side of Chicago, where people get shot, and after I came, from a pretty tumultuous environment, I was with my grandmother and my older brother, And my older brother was responsible for, I have all brothers, by the way, so the video games definitely went to, I have that story. My brother played, I have that. But what was really interesting is I had to give up on like any idea that I was normal quickly, because my older brother taught me preschool and kindergarten. I was homeschooled by him. Imagine getting homeschooled by somebody just 5 years older than you. Like the power trip that he was on.
It just dragged you down the stairs.
Yeah. He used to call when we were doing school, I had to call him Mr. Howard. But to his credit, I was smart as I was really smart, which ensured that I had no friends in school. It solidified it. Like there was no friends, so that's why video games and sci-fi and geek culture was always like where I went for escape, because at least like seeing my life through an alien or something that I could identify with as being other, it really like kind of solidified my relationship with gaming, with geek culture, with fantasy. And then as I got older, I was like, I am so tired of only having guys to play with, and I just wanted friends. I started Sugar Gamers with no other intent but to like make friends and meet other women in the space. Now since then, there's a whole nother story that goes along with the 10 years of what that meant. But that's why I started it. I was like, I only have the narrative of playing with my brothers or my brother's friends or my male friends when it comes to gaming of any kind. And gaming has so many intellectual merits. Why should that just be my only, sort of experience with it? I want to bring other women into this. I want to meet other women who've had this situation. I cannot possibly be alone, and I wasn't. So, 2009, pre-Gamergate, I was like, let's do this.
Yeah, those were the days. Back when we started, it was beautiful.
It's kind of like a weird culture that gets set up where they're like, oh, girls who like nerdy things are rare. Like, it's a narrative that people say so you believe it. And then like you meet other women and you're like, that's not true at all. Like,
It's like sort of like isolating, right? So it's like you think that you're by yourself in your home, and you're afraid to talk to other girls about it because of the narrative of like, this is how women are. We're not like, we should be interested in like girly things versus like.
Yeah, we were socially, all of us, when we talk about we all have that narrative that we were introduced by male, it's because we were socially engineered that way.
Exactly.
And we were never pushed towards, even with comic books. My dad introduced me to anime, my brother with the video games, but comic books, which is another bread and butter of mine, I had to pull my dad into the comic book store one day. He's like, well, you know what, I'm already at Hell's Gate, let's just fully go. What are comic books about? And I was like, wow, I want to write these, so let's just go. But yeah, like forging my space, I realized like, with Keisha, I wanted to have friends. I was torn apart in school. I didn't understand. And my mom is a nerd, but not like in the sense like it isn't. My mom explained to me, I was watching Grease one day, and my mom, God bless her, she's a teacher. She explains to me, she goes, you see, Patty Simcox, I don't know if you remember her from Grease, she's the dork who's like, oh my God, are you guys so excited? It's like school, and she's like, my mom was like, that was me. Like that's the kind of nerd my mom was. So like fashion and all the other things that like these girls were doing. The girls who were on the soccer team were the meanest women. They haunt my dreams to this day, and they were like 6th graders. So Master Chief and like all my little friends, just my little video game friends, they just became my friends because my brother was out. He was out partying. He's 5 years older than me, so he had friends. So I had a lot of QA time, a lot of quality time with his systems, and it worked out great. But and then Keisha and I are technically, we were just talking about this, we're a Craigslist success story. She found me on Craigslist.
Oh wow.
And I just got
That's
hired.
how we got work married.
were you Miss Connections?
Hey girl.
Keisha's like, do you want to make money and like do stuff in video games? And I just got fired from my IT job, and I was like, yeah, I want to do all that stuff. And then I've been her work prisoner ever since. Happily, she's made me a far better professional.
Interestingly enough, I don't know if you'll segue into this, but liking video games, being a fan of geek culture, liking, aspects of it is great. and meeting people who like the same things is great. Creating and managing a community or organization or working within that space is a whole different conversation. Like, this is great. Like, you like what I like? Oh my God, there's some new experiences. But like, once we start like making it in any way, shape, or form public or serious or organized, then you have to like really learn how the industry works, which is fascinating.
You know what else was interesting was that when we started out, there were a lot of women who were disappointed at us, and then we realized how high the stakes were because women wanted us to represent everything. You know, we had to. We were trying to be everything to everyone.
You're held to such high standards.
And so they would get mad, or they would be dissatisfied with us for a few different reasons.
Well, rarely. Like, okay, well, you have other questions to ask, but if we come around back to it, let me tell you the Columbia story.
Oh,
and that's my favorite story. That's before I learned how to, like any sort of how to speak professionally or, in PR, how to share your opinions in a way that is safe. Because like all safe spaces aren't safe.
Exactly.
There's definitely a learning curve to like once you start talking and realizing other people can hear you. Especially with the internet like recording everything that we do all the time.
And people think you're speaking for them. That's
or like
you gotta be careful.
People think you're speaking for them, or they have a different interpretation of your tone than you do, or if anything's in writing, people can decide whatever they want. But like on a less professional and more personal basis of what you were saying, it was always interesting to me because I would be myself who like nerdy things, and guys would be like, oh, you're so cool, you're such a cool girl, this is so cool that you like the things I like. But it's only cool to a point. Like, if you're better than them at a thing, or you know more about a thing, it's not cool anymore. It's only cool if you want to admire them doing a thing.
Yes. And don't forget to smile.
Until visceral reaction.
Everyone. So I want this to be like what I do for the next 6 hours today. And then also next week. So, however,
I mean, if you wanted to just have the view, but like instead of the view, it's us talking about games.
We could do that.
I'm just gonna throw that out there on this giant table.
TM. That's what we're doing after this. But in order to kind of like wrap up, since we do have to continue on to a little Dungeon Rat streaming, please tell our audience where they can find you on social media, what you're affiliated with. Give us your elevator speech.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I don't know if you have to do the full elevator.
Well, you can find both me and Rebecca at Sugar Gamers Everything. If you just type in @Sugar Gamers, you will find us. And just in case you don't know what Sugar Gamers is, it's a tech advocacy organization for underserved demographics, specifically in video games and geek culture. And we've been doing that work for 10 years through events, through media, and consulting. So
I didn't know what it was, and I just got so excited.
Good! Because we're gonna make you a sugar gamer.
Yeah, you can be a sugar gamer
You're in
too.
proximity to us, so we can just like, and she's in.
Coach, come in.
I love it so much.
And I will interject it's these types of things where you guys have been doing this for 10 years. 3 people, maybe Surena, 3 people at the table, never heard about it till today. And it's like,
We love that.
it's
though.
growing.
I do live under a rock,
getting out
though.
there. I mean, same. If it's not a capitalist on Instagram.
It's not like a raccoon on Instagram for me.
Understood.
Yeah, getting it out there. What about you, Surena? Where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter @SerenaXMarie. I'm also on the show The Dungeon Rats.
Oh, I think you want to.
Am I here?
should've told you that.
Am I here? Where am I? Oh, cool. Hey. Hey, camera. So I'm on The Dungeon Rats. We stream every other Tuesday, or you can check us out on iTunes or Google Play. I also stream on a D&D show called Rivals of Waterdeep. We are an all POC LGBTQ cast, and we're all amazing. And we are Sundays at 12 p.m. noon Central.
We did it.
I'm also on the Dungeon Rats. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, whatever, at Alexikakon, ALEXIKAKON. Didn't think about how complicated that would be to spell when I made it my name. You can also, Tumblr's dead, but if you still use it ever, you can find me at Feminist Lisa Frank.
Oh, I like that.
Feminist Lisa Frank. That is
sounds
so
amazing.
awesome.
It's
I want
exactly what it sounds
I
like.
want that Trapper Keeper, whatever it is.
There's a long story there. The Lisa Frank company did not like that Tumblr, but
Whoa.
that's for another day.
Too bad, yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, so I guess you can find me at rboxr if you want to go to my personal. I also do have a web comic which I'll plug here, shiroandvex.com. It's about a hero and a villain who are roommates. Been going on for 3 years. Big love to Erica Swanson, my artist. Gotta love her. She's amazing.
Love web comics.
So, and of course, find all my writing work on sugargamers.com. I'm the editor of the site, so that's what I do. You can see all the stuff I write about.
How about Warshiner?
Oh, and Warshiner. Oh, Warshiner
That's
will
my
be yes.
favorite.
I'm now under a new publisher. It's Tango Comics. They will be putting out Warshiner. It is available through them now exclusively. It's beautiful. We got issue 3 on the way. We got digital for issues 1 and 2, and yeah. So I think I'm good now.
I think that's everything. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you. I'm going to see if we can continue this conversation in some other format because I would love to have that. You would love to have that. Hit us up on the social media. You can find us at Initiative Coffee Co. at gmail.com. On all the socials, you can find me at ELISEFORER on Instagram, and there you can DM me a really good screen name because I need one.
Slide in there, yeah.
Thanks all for joining us today, and thank you all for being here. Yay!